The sales chart falls off a cliff, and the headlines declare the controls are working. The document that produced those headlines does not say the machines stopped running. The Dutch lithography maker's first quarter 2026 earnings filing records China's share of quarterly revenue at approximately 19%, down from 36% the prior quarter and 42% the quarter before that. The company itself characterizes this as the steepest consecutive decline in China's revenue share it has reported. We will read this filing twice, once for what it plainly establishes, once for what it declines to measure. The document is the protagonist. The silence in its footnotes is the argument. The filing's geographic revenue table is precise. China contributed roughly 42% of the company's quarterly revenue in the period ending before restrictions tightened, then 36%, then 19%. The company records these figures without ambiguity, and management commentary attributes the decline to the layered tightening of export control frameworks across 2023, 2024, and into 2025, which restricted the sale of deep ultraviolet immersion lithography systems into the country. The filing also establishes that total company revenue rose in the same quarter in which China's share collapsed. The offset came from stronger demand for the company's most advanced systems, its extreme ultraviolet tools, from customers in logic and memory markets outside China. The document records a geographic retreat and an overall advance at the same time. Both figures appear in the same table. The filing does not treat this as a paradox. Management commentary goes further, and this is where the first reading turns on itself. The filing references stockpiling behavior by Chinese customers in 2024 and into 2025, describing elevated orders placed ahead of restriction deadlines. The company names this phenomenon. The report acknowledges that buying accelerated before the window closed. This acknowledgement appears in the management section, not the footnotes. The document establishes in plain language that the decline in new orders was preceded by an unusual concentration of purchasing. The filing records the tap being turned off. It does not record how long it had been running at full pressure. The filing also records that total revenue rose despite the China decline, attributing the gain to demand from customers elsewhere, principally for the company's highest capability systems. The document is therefore not a story of commercial contraction. It is a story of geographic rebalancing. That distinction matters for what the filing is, and is not equipped to tell us. Reading the same document a second time, the revenue table's silences become its most consequential content. The geographic breakdown records new sales, transactions completed inside the reporting window. It does not contain a column for tools delivered in prior quarters, for installed base by region, for tool uptime, or for wafer output from previously shipped systems. A revenue table is a record of flow. It measures the rate of new deliveries with precision. It does not measure the size of what was accumulated on the other side of that flow. Think of it this way. A quarterly revenue filing records the rate of water moving through a pipe during one interval. It tells you, precisely, how much passed through in that window. It does not tell you the size of the tank at the other end, how long that tank has been filling, or how long its contents will sustain the operation downstream. The filing we are reading tells us the pipe is now nearly closed to China. It does not tell us how full the tank already is. The pull-forward window is the filing's most telling evasion of the question the reader brings to it. The company almost certainly holds internal delivery data disaggregated by customer and geography. The filing acknowledges the stockpile and declines to size it. What the document says is that buying accelerated before the deadline. What it does not say is how many systems that acceleration delivered, or how many years of production capacity those deliveries represent. The acknowledgement is in the text. The measurement is not. The third gap in the record is the most consequential for any assessment of capability. The filing does not reference tool maintenance contracts, spare parts supply chains, or service visit restrictions for equipment already delivered and operating inside China. Export controls on new shipments appear throughout the management commentary. The fate of the tools already on Chinese soil is not addressed. A lithography machine is not a static asset. It depends on consumable components, alignment protocols, calibration procedures, and software that must be updated and maintained. The filing's silence on what happens to the installed base after the gate closes is the silence around which the entire second reading turns. The absence of a clause is not evidence of concealment. It is evidence of what an earnings report is designed to disclose, which is financial performance to shareholders, not an operational audit of foreign industrial capacity. But the gap is real, and the document does not close it. The record also does not indicate whether Chinese customers were able to source spare components or optical elements from supply chains outside the original equipment manufacturer during the restriction period. The operational status of the installed tools remains entirely outside what this document can establish. Independent analysts have raised the question of whether Chinese chip makers have developed or sourced domestic servicing capability for deep ultraviolet systems. The filing neither confirms nor refutes this. An absent clause is not proof of intent, and a thin evidentiary record on this point is itself a further omission of the document, not a hidden fact the filing has secretly encoded. The controls may have reached the service layer. The filing does not say. The document may also be incomplete in a forward-looking sense. Export control frameworks continued to evolve after the quarter closed. Any amendment to those frameworks after the reporting date would not appear here. The record is a snapshot of one quarter, read against a regulatory environment that was still moving when the quarter ended. What the filing establishes, read carefully. New deliveries into China have fallen steeply. The fall was preceded by an acknowledged acceleration of purchases, and the document contains no instrument for measuring what that acceleration left behind. The record shows the gate closing. It does not record what passed through the gate before it did. The revenue table tells us what the company sold in one quarter. It does not tell us what Chinese fabs are running this week. The decisive silence in this filing is precise. It records the moment the flow stopped, but it has no column for the stock that accumulated while the flow was running. A 19% China revenue share is the far side of a purchase already made. The document has no instrument for that. A sales chart falling to 19% is a persuasive argument about the present. It says nothing at all about the weight of what came before it. The next document worth reading closely is whatever fab operator disclosures or government procurement records exist for the period when this company's China revenue was at its highest. Because that is exactly where the filing we just read sends us, into the window it acknowledges and refuses to size. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you catch that document when it surfaces.